Homies, we are keeping the energy moving. I told you guys when I started this super dumb autistic program, because there's definitely some tism behind it, that maxing out every day is inevitably going to plateau me pretty instantly, which is a good thing. Because the idea is not to hit new weights. The idea is to put your body in a state where it has to adapt to attempt to do better because of the lack of energy, the lack of fatigue control, the lack of CNS, stability overall, and then still making the most of it regardless. I tell you guys all the time, I make the most progress on the days where I feel horrible and I feel out of it, but I still try to make the best out of it anyway. This program is so damn hard and so damn taxing on my energy that I pretty much have to put myself in that position consistently. And once it feels normal to feel like that, when the peak days come, I, at the very least, hope, I never expect, but I hope and foresee that I might hit some crazy numbers with a lot more confidence, you know? Because the reason everything's hitting so hard right now is, first of all, I have some old injuries that will start tweaking me if I go a little too hard. I'm thankful to be humbled by that because it keeps me from getting injured again, but, you know, I'm squatting and doing full body explosive lifts every single day. My body is going to hurt, you know? I'm going to be in the struggle, but as long as I work around that hurt and keep it as discomfort and soreness rather than strictly pain, I can make do. I was talking to my homie about it at the gym today, and I can't explain to you guys how many times over the course of so many years of me doing these lifts that I've been told that I'm either lifting wrong or that the program I'm doing is stupid. And let me tell you, I relish in that. That gets me excited. I love lifting stupid because I try to do the most out there, out of my comfort zone, out of the box, crazy workouts, programs, whatever you want to say, to the highest potential that I can make out of it. You know, because it's not about running the best program to me. It's about having the most passion, having the most excitement, being the most willing and driven to progress and love what you're doing every day. You know, you are not going to make progress on a perfect program if you don't give a shit about it. You know, and every program, this happens so damn much where people will think they've made the perfect program. I've been there 1,000 times. I've been trial and erroring this sport for over 4 years. There is no perfect program. Every time you hit a peak, you are either going to be able to ride it a little bit longer or inevitably and eventually you will plateau. It's going to happen. You aren't Superman. You're not a fucking robot. You have limits. You can surpass them, but that's at your body's rate, not at your mind's rate, and not at your program's rate. It is as you give yourself the best opportunity possible to progress and grow safely, efficiently, passionately. But in the long run, you're going to have to adapt and mix in some variability into your program. Because I that's one of the biggest things that I think people lack in their programs. It's the inability to just branch out, you know? Because I know that I've stuck to my same main lifts for so many years, but you guys have seen how funky I can try to make these programs. I spent the better part of this whole past year doing the craziest complexes I could think of. And realistically, they're not efficient, you know? Especially when, like, let's say I'm doing like the yo-yo snatch. You know, doing like a yo-yo from the floor, below the knee, at the hips, and then a full. Realistically, when you think about it, you're just doing a couple deadlift reps and then a snatch. And deadlifting is not hard compared to the snatch, so it really shouldn't limit me that much. But it's the fact that I don't have a standard and that it gets me excited because I don't know what I'm doing or I don't know what the potential of it is why it pushed me harder, you know? Because even if it wasn't a complex that efficiently made me grow in certain finite specific areas, they got me the most excited to lift the most weight without getting injured most of the time, you know? And whenever I do get injured, I just take a chill pill. That's the whole point of this program. I want to run it until it feels bad, and then I just chill out for a little bit, bounce back, do it again, you know? If this program gets boring in a week, I just won't do it. But this is fun right now. I feel like I'm very good at lifting stupid. And it's not just because I give a shit. There has to be a purpose behind every action you take with your passion stuff, you know? When it comes to the gym, every single lift I do has a purpose behind it, has a desire, you know? It's not just willy-nilly doing whatever the fuck I want, even though I make it seem that way sometimes. Every day I come in and I follow my own prerequisites of I have to mentally and physically feel good to do them, have that confidence, while also having my technique be exactly where I need it to be with no risk of injury. You know, because snatch today, got up to 255, and this is why I know the program's working. Because I am not as strong as I was yesterday. Not by a good bit. However, I look way better. My technique is on point today. 255 looked perfect. No wasted movement, instantly under the bar, fully locked out, no wobble whatsoever. I caught it perfectly right on the first try, didn't even have to think about it. And it went so good that I at least tried 275, but again, I have to listen to my body. And I know you're going to see it, and you're going to say, well, Jake, you pulled 275 damn near up to your forehead. You should be able to snatch that. My core was not there. You can't know what it feels like until you've gotten to that point yourself, but I'm fatigued from this kind of training, and if you can't force your core to go at the fast speed that it needs to lock out underneath the barbell, even if, let's say, I did manage to mentally force myself under, it's going to lead to more risk of injury to all parts of my limiting factors, whether it's my elbows, my shoulders, my low back, my knee. It's going to hit twice as hard because I have that lack of stability. So I may be lifting through stupid programs that are really inefficient and dumb, but I lift smart between every rep and every set that I do, you know? I don't go beyond my limits when it comes to the technique or pain. You know, you have to actually be smart about that. Because if you can listen to your body properly, you will make progress, no matter what you do. But the technique has to be damn near perfection to your standard, and there cannot be risk of pain or injury. You know, and I mean real pain that makes it to where you can't properly lift, you know? Clean and jerk was probably the star today because it's the only lift I hit that matched yesterday's lift. I did 315 again, and while 315 definitely looked really good yesterday, and I'm very proud of it, same deal. I think the technique today was just all around better. You know, I really caught it where I wanted to on the clean, even though I was tired. I got under it fast enough, even though my hips weren't as flexible. I managed to hold my chest and elbows and delts up with my lats pushing in, my lats and upper back pushing in my spine so that I can hold the bar as upright as possible. And I'm very, very proud of the split jerk specifically because I got right into the perfect lockout position. And even though my shoulders moved a little bit when I caught it, I did not let my elbows unlock. And that is the biggest thing that I struggle with. So the fact that I locked that out and felt right where I needed to be is a huge milestone. I don't know if I'll be able to hit any weights tomorrow. Who knows? Going lighter today might make it to where I can, or I might have to just go full deload mode. It doesn't matter as long as I'm doing max intensity with perfect as I can muster technique. Front squat, got to 365. Again, really great technique, good explosiveness, but the lack of stability in my core, my delts, and my knees started kicking me a bit. It's that rep where I know for a fact if I go up again, the technique will not be there, even if I am strong enough. And even if I want to hit the maximum intensity, you cannot sacrifice technique for a heavier weight. That is a bare fucking minimum in my training, at least. That's how I stay uninjured, you know, at least for as long as I can until inevitably something happens. But either way, back squat, 455. Really proud of that one because my knee started hurting a bit when I did my warm-ups. Not in a pain way. It was just like really uncomfortable for a couple sets, but I really managed to lock my knee back, and I was very scared of squatting today because of going 2 days in a row this hard. And it really showed me that I can do it, even if I get a little bit of a kickback, as long as I really hyper-focus the technique and the tempo in the bottom position. Because my knee only really starts hurting when I let my knee cave in or, you know, push more toward my body instead of driving out on the way back up. And so even though I squatted down slower into the bottom position today, it allowed me to compress my ass to grass position as much as possible so that my knee pain didn't persist. So the 455 I'm very proud of. And honestly, at that point, my CNS was really blown out. So even if I had the technique and no knee pain, 475 wasn't going today. It could have, but again, the technique would not have been there. I feel like my back would have pulled really bad and my knee would have strained, and it's just not worth it. If I have even an inkling of doubt in my capabilities, you just chill out, you know? There will be a next time. You will grow. The sport has to be a little bit dependent on the future so that you can persist beyond what you are limited by today. Bench press, got the 345 really solid. Like I was pretty surprised I got over 3 plates. Last time I maxed it, which was awesome. Bench was one of the star lifts yesterday, but after going that hard and that heavy, benching with Olympic lifting is always going to be a bit tough on my shoulders, and the stability in the bottom position is what goes first. So same deal. I took a little bit of a slower descent, really set up as strong as possible before putting the bar on my chest, and every explosion off my chest felt good. I felt a little bit of instability when I started, but every weight kept moving really quick. I didn't feel pain or a lack of technique until I got to 345, so you got to give it the best effort you can. There's no chance in this world I attempt 365 because I know for a fact in my brain my elbows are going to wing out and I'm going to tear my chest off my shoulder. It's just not worth it. The whole point is that even though this appears so stupid and this appears so inefficient and not smart for my training, it's got me the most excited right now. It's something new with no standard. It's pushing my body to a limit I haven't felt in a while, and I'm still adhering to my personal principles that keep me not away from injury, but give me the best opportunity to minimize that risk, That's the biggest thing. You will always get injured in strength training. No matter what you do, you could lift perfectly forever. You will be injured at some point. I fucking promise you that. If somebody tells you you're not going to get injured, you can have minor injuries. A muscle pull that just kind of nicks at your low back, I still count that as being injured, even though it's super, super minor. You will be injured. You may not have any major injuries, which is great. I haven't had a major injury since my knee, which I'm very happy about. I think my only major injuries have been my knee and my low back, because I've had a bone growth on my hand I've talked about, but that was kind of just inevitable. Like, that just happened on its own. Like, I didn't really cause that. It just happened. Some people are genetically more likely to get hit by that. But either way, I'm making great progress, and this is what's got me the most excited to keep going. And I think that as long as I remain passionate and I do the best that I can, there will be progress. So even if this doesn't last more than a fucking week, I am so excited to experiment with my body and see where it's going to go, because I have zero fucking clue what my limits are, and that is the best feeling that you could ever have. Because if you don't know where the ceiling is, it probably means you got a lot of room to grow. And you got to run with that shit while you got it. Because I might not be able to do any heavyweight for a while after this program. That's fine. I'll do a fucking volume program if I need to. But right now, while I have it, and I got that confidence and I got that strength, I'm going to abuse it. Physically, even though it's weaker, the technique is really shining through. So at the very least, I'll definitely have to give it, we'll give it a 9.2. It was really, really good. Again, the technique shone through, so I have to give myself a lot for that, even though it was really tough to push through some of the warm-ups specifically. But mentally, 9.25, just above. It was really lined up today. I was just rolling with it. It's only day 2, and these workouts are long, they are hard, but I'm getting used to them, and I'm already feeling comfortable putting in this much effort all the time. And it's 3 days of hell for sure, but if I can make the most out of it, when I take my rest day and then have 2 days where I only do 2 or 3 lifts at a time to isolate the strength lifts a little bit more, I'm going to be smoothing in the latter half of the week. But either way, I'll be back tomorrow. Exact same shit, but will we be stronger? Will we be weaker? I have no fucking clue, but that's what's got me excited the most. So I'll be back. Let me know how the lives and lives have been going. Love hearing about it, and I appreciate y'all hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow. I love you guys. See you later. Bye.